Morning everyone, hope you had a fantastic bank holiday weekend and welcome back to the channel. Just a very quick one guys, I'm not going to go too much into this, but don't know whether any of you know, but one of the main reasons I got into this YouTube game is from watching one or two of my favourite car channels, Daily Driven Exotics, which I absolutely love, and then you've got Savage Garage. Bit of bad news, on the 15th of April, whether many of you know, Randy, who ran the channel, Randy Savage Tillim, he lost his life. It's really, really sad. Condolences to his family, friends, and all the guys from the channel. Thinking of you all, and really, really, really sorry to hear that. The top bloke, absolutely loved watching him, watched every video from the start, and yeah, really, really sad. So, I was in here yesterday at 10 o'clock taking delivery of this engine here. This is another Cosworth, but unfortunately this is one we've done work on before and it's gone a bit belly up. So this is from the Isle of Wight, from a customer of ours, or a previous customer. We've seen this crankshaft once before, but not the rest of it, I don't think. But basically, you can probably see from here, that centre main is not looking too good. Now the story is with this, is when he sent down the few bits before, the crankshaft was very slightly bent. It was bent sort of too much to grind. So we sort of give him the options, but we ended up straightening this crank enough so we could grind it. But unfortunately, it has picked up on the centre main. So I'm suspecting this is sort of bent again, which has basically spun the main and done the centre main bearing in the block. So this is a 200 block, valuable block. He wants it long studded and oil jets in the bottom anyway. So what we're going to do, so we're going to have to line bore all the mains before we go any further. Hopefully we've got some nasty sort of grooves in that centre main there, but hopefully it's not going to be as bad as, you know, what we don't want to do is take it too far down, because obviously then we've got to take more off the pistons, which on these isn't too bad, because I would have thought we're only going to have to go down sort of 5 thou on that, but obviously we always have to mod the piston tops on these anyway. So he's got a brand new crankshaft in here. We've got to reface the flywheel again. I think he's going to send us a clutch, and then we're just going to balance all that, line ball that, do me usual on the 10 long studs and the oil jets, the BMW oil jets, and I think we're going to do away with that crank. So yeah, that's a bit of a, not quite sure what's happened there. You know, at the end of the day, it's sort of bent originally, so I don't quite know how it's done that, but we're not going to be using that crankshaft again, that's for sure. Back onto the Cosworth. The only thing we haven't got for this, John's just gone down the road to get the rest of the bits. The only thing we haven't got, I think, is the 0.25 big end motorsport bearings. So everything else we've got, you see we've got the pockets in the pistons, just got one over on the lathe at the moment. Just going to take 10 thou off the top of these pistons, which I think should be fine. Then I'll do a dummy build. If there needs to be some more come off, I'll take some more off. See, we've got all the new valves here to go in the head. 8 inlets, 8 exhausts. John should be coming back in a minute with the guides, so I can get the guides in the head and get that all together. That'll be my first job for this morning after machining the pistons. Want to get that one pretty much done this week, really, and out of the way. We've got this Cosworth here, which I'm going to be completely honest with you, I don't really know how far we've got to go with that. I'm assuming we've got to do all of it, because he sent all the engine. We've got a spare bottom end down there, which is a good one, but I think he's suspecting this has got a cracked bore. So depending which way he wants to go, whether he wants to line this or do that, I don't know yet, but as soon as this little baby's done, I'm going to crack on with that. Right, I've got a lot of my bits laid out here. The con rods, I've put the ARP big end bolts in, and I've balanced those rods. As you can see, there's actually about 8 grams difference between these rods. It's really weird, because sometimes you look at them and visually you cannot see where that 8 grams goes, but Anyway, balance that. It was all off the big ends, so we've done that. We put them on the put the pistons on the rods, and I've just put in the pistons down the holes now. As you can see, I've got 2 in, 2 more to go. Now, before I put the ring clamp, which is that there, on the piston, what I normally do is just, as a matter of habit really, and good practice, I just space the ring gaps out. So I normally just put the ring gaps on each ring about 1/3 of the way out. So bottom one there, so you've got your second ring gap, I'll sort of leave about there, and the top ring gap again around the other side. Now, to be honest, as I say, this is just sort of just habit really, but people do get a bit anal over ring gaps, and to be honest with you, I don't think it matters too much, even if they were straight in line. It's just sort of a thing everyone does, and then we just space them out so they're all out. But yeah, ring gaps, not as critical as people make out, but yeah, that's the way I always do it anyway. So you just feed the piston down the hole. Just tap the ring clamp round, so it's, you know, it's seating on the block all the way around. And then just gently tap it down with a rubber handled mallet until it's just below the face of the block. Unfortunately, most of the bits are still on order. These are the only bits I've managed to get so far for the cylinder head for the engine. You know, the one with the broken camshaft I want to get together. These are the only bits I've got for the head so far. So it's enough, fortunately, to get to put it together. We've got the guides here, we've got the valve stem seals, we've got the cam seals, we've got the WRC head gasket, the Victor Rhines jobby, and that should be enough. We've had the camshafts turn up today. We've got the BD14 inlet, BD10 exhaust. I usually keep the standard exhaust, but because the exhaust was the cam that broke, we're just going to go with the BD10 on that, a new one. We've got obviously new buckets, we've got the vernier cam pulleys. Let's get this thing together. But at the moment, I'm just doing a little bit of invoicing, and I've got 3 jobs out there, Cosworths, that have been sort of ongoing jobs, which is very annoying because although I jot everything down on the job card, some things may get forgotten. You know, there's little bolts and that you drill out and what have you, so it's a bit of a nightmare. But I've just, as I say, I've just put them down now as an estimate, so I know exactly where I am. I'll send that to the customer, and then he knows where he is then. Well, it is 20 to 4 now, and I'm still doing paperwork, so I haven't yet managed to get that bloody Cosworth cylinder head together. But I've got to get this done because the accountant's turning up in the morning to pick all this up. So let me just get this finished off, and we'll head off out into the workshop. I've got something nice and shiny to show you. Here we have got a very nice and shiny and fully ported Mitsubishi Evo 8-cylinder head. So as you can see down the ports, at this stage I'm not going to give the port sizes away, but if I just take this inlet valve out, you can see there it's had all new guides. You've got to be a little bit careful when you're porting these Evos, that you port them in the right areas, but that is out now to full spec. So that head is obviously with this engine and all these bits here. Got to have a word with the customer about the pistons, because the pistons are all over the shop. The bores are not 100%, but the pistons definitely need replacing. So I've just got to have a chat with him about that. But the head's all done. That is looking lovely. Just going to get the valves and springs and what have you in there. And as you can see over here, we've got a nice fresh Escort Cosworth cylinder head, all gone through, new guides, done the valves and seats, all polished up, refaced. This is a really good head. It's almost new, I think this thing is really. And we've ported it to our own spec. This is going to be, well, these ports here are good for, you know, mega horsepower. We've gone 26.5 on the exhaust, on the inlets. We've gone 25 on the exhaust. We're going to be running big trick cams. This is for this motor over here. If we just See, open it up here. See, we've got the nice new bronze guides down there, all ported, 3-face valve cutting, and all the valves lapped in nicely. And that thing is looking fresh and ready to go. Now, later on in this week, we are going to show you a bit of head porting and how we go about doing that. Yeah, see, it's looking very nice. So yeah, as I say, later on in the week, we'll go about showing you how we do that. But we've had a little sort out here. These are the engines here that I've just spent sort of hour or so in the office pricing up where we are so far. These are the sort of long-term jobs. So we've got this Escort Cosworth, which goes with this head here. We've got the double valve springs, etc. So that one there is 10 long studs, the ductile iron liners, set of the original Marler pistons with my usual valve pockets, etc. We've supplied a main stud and nut kit, obviously the long studs for the head, the ARP big end bolts, and we've sized the rods, etc., and balanced those and built it into a short motor. I'm going to see how far he wants me to go on that. This is the one with the trick light flywheel with the twin plate clutch there, the one from Turbo Sport. Fantastic product, that. And then here we've got this is the S13 at the front here, which we've just sort of stored for a minute. We've got the Sapphire Cosworth there for our friend John, and also his Escort Cosworth, and they both had extensive work. The Escort has got the cylinder head up there. We've got the block there, which has had the 10 long studs and the ductile iron liners, bit the same as that one really. So yeah, I've got the job cards on the top along with the estimates all printed out as we are so far, so I'm happy with that. As I say, the longer you sort of leave it, although you do jot things down on the job card as you're going along, it's always a little bit of a worry that your outlay on parts and you forget this and that. You might drill the odd stud out and whatever and forget to put it down. But I'm pretty happy now that I've got everything down there, and hopefully we can start recouping a bit of time spent on that and also the parts. Well, this Cosworth here, I haven't managed to get the guides in today because I've had all this blooming paperwork, but I have managed to get the pistons and rods down the holes. I've turned it over, I've got the new water pump on and the auxiliary shaft in there. So hopefully tomorrow, if we get a few more bits, I can get the head done. I said that this morning, I know, but and we can start to crack on with this thing. Well, thanks ever so much for watching again, guys. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, put the notification bell on, and we will see you in another one. You take care.